YouTube. Welcome to Wayne's World of Mandolin. And we're over a year into this at this point, and I want to thank everybody that has subscribed to support the channel in that way. I'm hoping to do some merch, hope maybe within the next few weeks, to try to get the ball rolling on that, because so many people have reached out wondering what else they could do to support. So maybe some t-shirts, coffee mugs, hats, maybe some things like that in our future. If you haven't subscribed, I invite you to do that and to like the videos if you get something out of them. Turn on notifications and you won't miss any of the content that I'm able to put up here. All right, today we're going to jump right in on Tremolo Technique. And this is one of those things with the mandolin that we're going to really need to have a strong tremolo. Your mandolin, no matter how great of an instrument you may have, the mandolin does not sustain very long. And unlike a fiddle player using a bow or an electric guitar player with sustain like that, we need to be able to make those notes last when we're playing, especially the slow ballads. That's what comes to mind. A lot of waltzes that we would play tremolo if we were playing a tune that was typically done on fiddle, and we want to, play those notes and sustain. Tremolo is our way to get that. Okay, so I'm going to just give an example of something that I play with Third Time Out. This is a tune called Goodbye Missoula that we recorded a number of years back. It's out of the key of C. I'm not going to really talk about the double stops or the solo or the melody to this tune, because this is about tremolo. It's about the technique. So we're going to zero in on the right hand. This is the intro that I play to Goodbye Missoula. So it's just a turnaround. It's just the last couple of lines of the melody that I'm playing. But notice this whole intro is basically double stops. We're going to really want to invest in that when we play tremolo through two pairs of strings a lot. And the technique, as easy as it is to describe that we're just playing up, down with the pick to sustain those notes, so many different elements can really come into play. The first thing I'm going to say to look for is the amount of pressure that you're going to put down with your thumb. If you're holding the pick and it's a really rigid pick hold, that tends to create a really stiff sounding note. Where a softer hold, in other words, the thumb, not as much pressure down on the pick, I can really feel the pick move in my fingers as I'm playing that particular dynamic. Not only is it a little softer touch with my right hand, but it's also less pressure coming from the thumb. It's hard to overdo thinking about that when you're trying to be a better tremolo player, which we can all stand to be. So for me, playing through these double stops, one of the things that helps is the key signature that I'm working in. I'll do some scale work, because if you're not comfortable with your tremolo, it's way more demanding to play that intro than it is to just practice this if we were playing the intervals of the C major scale. If you don't know what those are, you can find content for double stop scales and all that here on the channel. I'm just going to play through it. So there's the C double stop scale in first position. We could continue from there. Trying to make the movement between those different double stops as sweet as it can be for this sound that I'm going for. What you're going to notice when you're doing that is the way the pick feels under your hand there's going to be a different sensibility when you're playing on the G and D strings. Just the gauge of that string. These are 40s that I have on the G, D'Addario, and 11.5 on the E. So we're looking at the difference between those two extremes. When you're trying to play a nice tremolo, sometimes you're going to want more of that pick sound than others. Sometimes that really suits the situation, but not always. So by turning the pick at a different angle, you're just going to have to experiment with this. How flat against the string where you can hear more of the pick noise, or at an angle, and that sensibility is going to be different from the G and the E strings. Another thing that I like to do, I get this question a lot: how do you play tremolo without accidentally playing one of the other strings? Well, on the E and the G strings, that's easier because instead of your pick, like running, and this is a slight radius on this fretboard, so the bridge top is too, and that helps to play tremolo clean when you have that radius on the bridge. But even if you don't, if your bridge is flat, you know, like a lower would have been made, when you play the E string, I'm overdoing it now, but the pick, look at that. See the angle? We don't want it to be that extreme, but don't try to play up and down where you could accidentally hit the A string. Make a little bit more of an angle so that your pick isn't traveling directly in the direction of that string when you're playing tremolo on the E string, which is very common, that we want those higher notes. So I've really increased my confidence that I'm not gonna accidentally hit the A string by having a little more of that angle. Same thing works on the G. You can even overdo it to try to get to make that a habit. So a completely different feel, the way the pick feels touching the G compared to the E string. We want to be able to adjust for that as we're playing a line. That's a waltz that I wrote during the process. Some of you that watch the channel a lot may have checked out my video about pick hold, and that I changed mine, I guess about maybe 20 months ago at this point, committed to this hold instead of 2 fingers under the bottom. So believe me, I have revisited all of these thoughts for playing strong tremolo because I'm using a different pick now, totally different hold. It was a great opportunity to think about all of this again. So I wanted to have something with no real expectations of myself, like trying to play something that I had been familiar with the other pick hold was discouraging during that time. So I just wrote that waltz to have something brand new so that I wasn't comparing myself to what I had done in the past. That may be something, if you feel like you're going to really have to revisit your pick hold and stuff. If you haven't ever worked on this technique, it could expose to you the limitations of the pick hold that you currently use. Sometimes this kind of thing can be what actually, pushes you over the edge, and you choose to make a decision to try something different. And don't think that you can't do it. It's doable. It's possible. And this is really fun. Like, I enjoy, playing a solo on a medium tempo bluegrass song. The groove that you're playing in. But this intro, that's fun too, man. Tremolo, you know, can get a bad rap. It doesn't mean that you're going to be playing the mandolin the way your grandpa did or anything like that. Listen to, check out Sam Bush's intro on the Cold on the Shoulder recording by Tony Rice. There's a tune on there called Wayfaring Stranger. I think they did it in C minor, which was kind of an odd key to do it, and I guess it worked for the vocal. Listen to Sam's tremolo on that, to the sensibility and how artsy he makes it sound. It's really fun. Check out David Grisman, another amazing tremolo player. Butch Baldassari, who we lost a number of years back, was one of my favorite tone players all the way around, but especially had an amazing tremolo. So listen to some guys like that to be inspired, and good luck with it. I hope you have fun.